Hee Hee by JSD Johnston. Book number 3 in the witch-based Bobbiez Bakery series. As Yuleshot approached near the end of the year, the village was decked out with holiday cheer. The doors were festooned, twinkling lights sparkled gaily. From sunup to sundown, folks furbeloed daily. The Bobbiez Bakery witches, still new to the town, yearned to conjure splendor, as well as renown. For folks in the hamlet were lauded if they created for Yule an impressive display. The Bobbies embellished, they spruced and they trimmed. "Something's off," said Witch Frey, as the evening lights dimmed. "Of course," said Witch Bertha, "we still need a tree, but who shall go fetch it?" They all cried, "Not me." For foul beasts had taken up residence where once was a forest both friendly and fair. With Queen Elsbeth away at a big witch convention, the bakery was leaderless, all felt the tension. The youngest witch, Gretchen, was quickly selected to go to the woods. "All alone?" she objected. "Here, take this axe, it will keep harm at bay. Use it to fell a tree, leave straight away." "Not that big axe again," she thought with dread, having once before wielded it. "Go," they all said. "May I wait till morning?" she tearfully pleaded. The witches debated for hours, then conceded. At dawn all the witches descended on Gretchen. "There's no time to lose, so get up and get fetchin'." She dragged the large axe as she pulled her cape tight. Her teeth chattered with cold, and her knees knocked with fright. Awash with self-pity she sat by the lake, crying and calling out for her friend Jake. "What gives?" said the turkey, aghast at the sight of the axe meant to slay him last Thanksgiving night. "Have you come back to finally finish the job? Make a meal of me yet? Is that why you sob?" "Good gracious, no!" Gretchen wailed. "It's a mistake. I promised you I never hurt you, dear Jake." "So why are you crying, and what's with the blade?" "It's to chop down a Yule tree. I hoped for your aid." "Then we best get a move on. The woods are too wild for a peace-loving turkey and witch who's a child." It didn't take long till they found a small tree. They thought they could manage and be home by tea. "How do we chop a tree?" Gretchen asked, stumped. "You don't," cried a wee voice. Jake squawked. Gretchen jumped. "Who said that?" called Gretchen. "Who else would it be?" came the wee voice from out of a conifer tree. Jake gasped. "You talk?" "Just as well as you, sir, as do all pine trees, all cedars, all fir." Gretchen's lip trembled. "What am I to do? I can't take the life of a talking tree. Whew!" said the noble tree, needles relaxing. "I feared you would kill me with chopping and axing." Gretchen sat down in the dirt, racked with tears. The tree touched her shoulder. "I sense you bear fears." "I do," Gretchen sniffled, "for I'll be cast out. If I show up treeless, I haven't a doubt." "I see," said the small tree, "then I'll go with thee." "But I cannot cut you down, dear talking tree." "I'll just move my roots, for that axe you've no need." "Move your roots?" "Or like scoot them, though not at great speed. Since I'm young, it should just take an hour or two." "Will it hurt?" "Not at all." "Is there aught we can do?" "Simply be my companions as I make my way. I know lots of traveling games we can play." The trio set forth making merry, all smiles. Next thing they knew, they had traveled 2 miles. "This is it," said Gretchen, "our bakery's yard. Will this soil suit you, or is it too hard?" The tree burrowed down in the earth and then wiggled. It let out a sigh, shook its branches, and giggled. "This should suit me nicely. I quite like the view. The flowers seem friendly. There's fresh morning dew. I think I shall like life in town and the folk. I may get my wish to at last meet an oak." Gretchen clapped, giddy. "You've made me so happy." The tree said, "I too feel all cozy and sappy." "What name shall I call you, my dear little tree?" "We don't have names in the woods, I'm just me. But I've always wanted my own appellation." "Perhaps then a name of the herbal persuasion?" "I quite fancy Needles," the pine tree suggested. "Then Needles it is," Gretchen said, "as requested. Now I'll get the witches while you settle in. I just know they'll love you. You're sure to fit in." Needles rerooted while Gretchen was gone. She came back deflated, her countenance drawn. "Is something wrong?" Needles asked. "You look quite sad." "It's nothing," she lied. "Are the witches not glad?" "Nothing I do is right, nothing's enough. They wanted a chopped tree," she said with a huff. "They feel that way now," Needles said, "but just wait. When they see me flourish, their ire should abate." The witches came out bearing tinsel and beads. "What's all this?" asked Needles. "Just tree trimming needs." The witches adorned him with lights as he giggled. The more they put on him, the more that he wiggled. They weighted him down till he pleaded for air. They still added more. Gretchen cried, "Don't you care?" "It's too much," rasped Needles. "Besides, I look frightful." "It's perfect," said Bertha, "and you look delightful." "The tinsel is scratchy. I can't bear so much stuff." "You'll wear it and like it. No more of your guff." The witches went back to the shop. Needles groaned. "I prefer my embellishments were just bare-boned." Next morning the witches walked out to the site of Needles' sans trimmings. He'd shed them at night. The witches retrimmed him, their faces quite stern. "You better be dressed like this when we return." But when they were gone, Needles once again stripped. Next morning the witches stood fuming, tight-lipped. The next 2 days went along mostly the same. The witches gave Gretchen the bulk of the blame. "If he will not stay dressed, he'll leave us no choice," Witch Bertha growled in a menacing voice. "We'll chop off his roots to get him to behave." Gretchen wept. "That will send him to his grave." The next day when Needles was bare, they decided that he must be cut down, their logic misguided. Queen Elsbeth returned to the coven just then. "I scent trouble brewing among you again." Bertha complained the tree wouldn't comply. "They're getting the axe," Gretchen cried. "He will die." "It is not right to force me," the small noble said. "If this is my fate, I would rather be dead." Said Elsbeth, "Young tree, tell us what you would choose. You may speak freely, you've nothing to lose." Needles perked up. "Just a few trimmings, really. A paper chain, balls, and a star, nothing frilly." "Release him at once," Elsbeth said. "Set him free. No witches shall bother you, grand noble tree." He giggled with glee. "Look how handsome you are," said Queen Elsbeth as she adjusted his star. The witches were lauded for keeping alive their Yule tree so it could keep growing and thrive. And folks in the village now follow their lead and dress up the evergreens they've grown from seed. Needles and Gretchen remain loving friends. All of the witches have since made amends. And visitors come to the town just to see the 100-foot giggling dressed-up pine tree. The end of Hee Hee. For more from Bobbiez Bakery, don't miss Fresh from the Coven, The Thanksgiving Feast, A Matter of Opinion, and A Broom with a View. See you next time for another Bobbiez Bakery adventure.